Hello everybody, I'm Nora and today I have a crafting challenge for you and a crafting challenge for me. I actually don't know what I'm going to be making today and I'll tell you why. Did you know there are holidays every single day, multiple holidays every single day? Today is February 5th and I thought we would take a look at what the holidays are for today and that I would pick one of these holidays and make a craft about it, right? So if it's National Chickens Day, I would need to do some sort of chicken craft, but there will be multiple. I think each day has like at least probably 3 or 4. So out of those 3 or 4, I'd pick whichever one I want to do. And you at home can do the same. You don't have to pick the same one as me. You can pick a totally different one. I haven't seen them yet, so we'll see them together. And then I'll pick one. So let's see what the holidays are, and then we'll make a craft about the holiday. I'm really excited because there's some of these are like totally wacky and crazy and random. They're all super random. So let's see what today's are. With my luck, today's will probably be like super boring, like National, take a nap day. But then you could make a blanket, right? So anyway, let's see what we have. And for February 5th, the holidays are, and I haven't seen these yet, we're seeing them together for the first time. National Bubblegum Day. That could be really fun. Bright bubblegum colors, right? National Bubblegum Day. National Shower with a Friend Day. Today is National Shower with a Friend Day. I'm not gonna make a craft about showering with a friend. How is that a holiday? That seems highly inappropriate though. Have fun showering with your friends today. I mean, maybe it's fun, right? I don't know. Let's see what else. I think there's one more. Let's see. Oh, National Weatherman's Day. All right, so I have to choose from National Bubblegum Day, National Shower with a Friend Day, or National Weatherman's Day. So let me think about this. I could pick the hardest one, which I think the hardest one would be National Weatherman's Day, because that's kind of super boring. I mean, National Shower with a Friend Day is a little weird, but I could do something funky and cool with that, I'm sure. Maybe I could make matching bath towels, right? That could be interesting. But National Weatherman's Day seems super challenging. So I could go with the most challenging one, but I have a feeling I might be going with the bubblegum because I could do something cool with that. So let me think it over and we'll start a surprise craft. Hello, I'm back. It's the next day, and I didn't need to think long about which option I wanted to choose. I feel like it was pretty obvious that the only choice that I could go with was the National Shower with a Friend Day, because in what other world will I be given this gift of such a humorous theme to craft around, right? So I think it is going to be a little bit of a challenge. I do have an idea. I've thought a lot about it. I was like, what am I going to do for this? So a little background here. I have been wanting to do a pictorial quilt block. Well, many pictorial quilt blocks that I will eventually put into a larger quilt. And that's not what I'm doing here. I do want to make a pictorial quilt block in this theme, but it's not going to be part of a larger quilt or a larger project. It will just be this quilt block as it is, and then I'll figure out what to do with it later. Maybe I'll make it a pillow or a bag or something like that. So you may be a little worried, right? National Shower with a Friend Day, and I'm making a pictorial block, but don't worry, because I have a very appropriate idea, I think. So what I'm thinking is, picture the savannah desert and elephants, 2 elephants in particular, tromping through the mud, and then they suck a bunch of water up into their trunks and spray it into the air, right? So I want to do an image of 2 elephants spraying water out of their trunks into the air, like a shower, right? Like, isn't that how elephants shower? They spray water from their trunks and it lands on their backs. I don't know. But in my mind, that's how it works. So I'm gonna have 2 friend elephants playing in the mud, spraying water in the air, and having a good happy time on National Shower with a Friend Day. So I have never made a pictorial quilt before. I have never made a pictorial anything before. I am certainly not an artist. I know a lot of people say they're not artists, visual artists, but then you see some drawing that they've done and you're like, oh my God, that's ridiculous, right? That's not me. I really cannot draw. So this is going to be a little bit of a challenge, which is good because this series that I'm going to do, because this is a series, is going to be National, what is it called? National Day Craft Challenge. So it's supposed to be a craft challenge. I don't fully know how I'm going to do this block. I have like a little bit of an image in my head, but not being an artist, I am a little bit worried about the elephants, and I kind of want like a tree in the background. I brought down so much fabric from my attic, and part of what I'm really excited about this quilt block is that I want to use all different kinds of materials. So I want to use cotton and flannel and fleece and canvas, all kinds. So I brought down so much fabric. Look at this. Brought down all of this fabric and all of this fabric because I don't know what I'm gonna do. I'm a little bit like lost, but I'm just gonna start at the beginning. I'm gonna start doing this, and I'm not going to take you along for the entire process. This isn't a tutorial. So I'll just, as I create this block, I'll just continue to check in with you. You can see my progress and we'll chat a little bit along the way. So I'm gonna get started. Wish me luck. I have my background here, and I have the darker gold on the bottom that's supposed to be kind of the ground, and then the light gold with these kind of bush-like things in it that I think looks kind of savanna-like. What I'm doing is I'm going to cut out my elephants. I want to have my elephants ready so that I can kind of place them around and see what I think. So what I've done to create my elephant, because I'm not an artist and I cannot draw freehand, is I found this book that I have called Stitched Safari, and you can make all of these cute little felted animals, and an elephant is one of them. I took the pattern for that, which is right here. You can see elephant body, and I just traced that, and I changed the head a little bit so that the trunk is going to be spraying water into the air. I traced the pattern from the book onto regular copy paper, and then I traced the copy paper onto my felt. Now I'm at the step of cutting out the felt, and then I can place my elephants kind of wherever I want on my scene. I cut out my elephants and I just placed them onto the scene here. They're not actually sewn down or anything yet. I want to add a little eye on each one, so I'll do that with a little bit of embroidery, black embroidery thread. I want to make some mud that they're kind of playing in. So I have, oh, he lost his foot. So you can see these pieces are separate from the main body. So I'll probably sew these down and then put the body kind of on top of it so that it looks like it's behind it. But first I want to make some mud for them to play in. I'm going to cut just various strips of these different browns and kind of make them look like mud. So I attached these two pieces. I secured the first piece down, top stitched all the way around it, and then I secured the second piece down and top stitched around that. Again, my elephants are just here for visual pleasure. They are not attached yet. And so now I've cut out these trees, and my only concern, I shouldn't have moved those elephants out of the way, because what I wanted to say is that, so my only concern is that, first of all, this piece is not cut exactly square, and I knew that from the beginning. I just kind of wanted to get stuff down and then I would square it off. But I need to keep that in mind in terms of giving myself enough space for both of the elephants in the tree to be included. And in addition to squaring it off, I need to leave myself a seam allowance between 1/4 and 1/2 inch. So that's getting the elephants pretty close to the edge, which I think right now I'm fine. But what I'm thinking is for the tree, when the elephants spray their water up, I feel like the water's gonna get a little lost in the tree, but it may be fine. And then I have my sun up here. So I cut out the tree, I cut out the sun. I'm gonna use Wonder Under to create these pieces on fabric with my template. So this is my template that I made, and then I'll put these onto fabric, and I'll show you how I do that with something called Wonder Under. I've never used Wonder Under before, but people seem to really like it. So I always just use that fusible interfacing down here, but I think something with these kinds of cutout details, the Wonder Under will actually be better. So we'll try that together. And then I have my sun up here, and I have some really good fabric for the sun. I have this. So I figure I'll just cut around one of these circles here, and that will be very sun-like. So here's my Wonder Under, and I have the waxy side facing up. I'm going to trace my template onto this wax paper. And you know, you could add a little tiny bit of tape in some spots kind of around so that it secures your template down, and then you could just peel that tape off when you're done. But I don't want to go get tape right now, so I'm just gonna suffer through this. Done! Oh, I missed a little spot up here. All right, so now I'm gonna take my craft scissors and I'm gonna cut out this tree. Here's the Wonder Under cut out. As you see, this is in 3 pieces. I have my trunk here and then each part of the foliage on top. So the next step that they say in the instructions, I did briefly read the instructions, even though I hate reading instructions more than anything, is to iron the rough side of the fabric, the underneath side, onto the wrong side of the fabric. So here's my fabric. This one doesn't really have a right side or a wrong side. Actually, that's not true. I guess this is the right side, so I would want to flip this over, and I'm going to iron this onto the wrong side of this orange fabric. And now I just need to cut it out. My pieces are cut out. As you can see, the Wonder Under is on the other side. I am a little skeptical about this right now because when I was putting my trunk onto my ironing board and ironing it, I panicked for a minute and I thought that I was ironing it with the wrong side of the fusing, and so I immediately peeled it up, and it turned out it was fine, so then I put it back down, but this has already been peeled once, well, from like here up. These branches have already been peeled, so I'm thinking this may cause trouble. The next step is you peel off the Wonder Under, and then you stick it wherever you want it to go, and then you iron it, again with a pressing cloth on top. You iron it again, and that's supposed to adhere it to your project, and then I would top stitch around. But the first step is going to be to peel off this Wonder Under, and I did kind of attempt it here a second ago, and it doesn't seem to be working all that. Oh, here we go. Maybe, oh, I think it's working. Oh, it's like magic. Now it's not sticky on the other side, but maybe it will be sticky once I put the iron down on it. Let's try it. I'm gonna go iron this and see how it goes. It totally worked. All of this is now stuck down. You can see it's all stuck on there, so that's great. So now I'm going to do the same thing with the branch pieces. The other thing you probably noticed is that the tree is now on the other side of the image. It used to be over here. But what I didn't take into account for is that when you're putting it on the back side of the fabric, when you turn it over, then it's going to be obviously reversed. So that's why our tree is now over on the other side, which I think is fine. I have to remember with these elephants, though, when I do the same thing. I guess it doesn't matter which elephant goes on which side. Let's put these down and make sure this is going to work, because now it looks like they're overlapping, which is no good. Uh-oh. I guess it's all right. This guy now has to be over the tree, which isn't ideal, but I guess it's fine. You can still see some of the trunk along the bottom. But then, I don't know, the water really is going to go right up into the foliage of the trees, but I guess that's okay. I guess it's not a big deal. I think I'm overthinking this at this point. So I'm gonna go iron these on, and then we'll deal with our sun next. So you can see this is starting to come together. I finished the tree over here, and after I used the Wonder Under, I just top stitched all along the top and then all along down the trunk. And then my next step, oh, and I was gonna say, to save a little room, I was thinking, what if I intertwined the elephant's trunks. I thought that could be really cute. I don't know if it just gets them too close together, but I might play around with that a little bit because that's kind of cute, right? Like that. So that would be sweet, and then it would save me a little bit of room on each side, which would be good. So to do the sun, I want to use this cool sun-like fabric, and I cut myself out a circle out of cardstock. I took a jar, put it on cardstock, traced around it, and then cut it out. What I'm going to do next, I have never tried before. I want to make a circle that doesn't have raw edges. So you can see around the trunk up here, or around the trunk of the tree up here, it's all raw edges. It's already started to fray a little bit, which is fine. I've cut out my circle. I traced my inner circle around first, then cut out the outer circle. And now I'm going to take my needle and thread. I've tied a knot at the end of my thread. I'm going to take my needle and thread, and about 1/8 of an inch outside of the line, you're just going to go in and out with pretty long stitches. I've stitched all the way around my circle on the wrong side of my fabric. I'm going to put my template on the inside, and I hope this works. And then I'm going to pull it tight. Pull your thread tight. Oh, I think it's working. And then when it's formed this circle around your template, you're going to tie your knot. Cut your thread. I ironed this. Let's pop the template out. And now I would sew all the way around. However, I am going to do this one again because what I'm not loving is all of these bumps around the edges. And I think that's because my stitches were too long. Do you see how big my stitches were? I left them that big because I thought it would be easier to pull it at the end, but I think they caused those bumps. So I'm going to try it again and have smaller stitches. Let's see how it goes. All right, here's the second one. Let's pop it out. I like popping these out. That's fun. And I think that one's looking a little better. Here's the first one, and here's the second one. I think the second one is a little cleaner, so I'm going to use that. Let's get it on our picture now. Cool. I think that's good. I am going to put a little bit of the double-sided fusible interfacing. I'll show you what that looks like. It's actually called webbing, so if you're looking for it in the store, it's called webbing, but this is double-sided fusible. So I'll just cut out a circle from this. It's a tiny bit smaller than this circle, and then put it on the back, stick it on, and then iron it on, and it will stick there. I attached my sun with the double-sided fusible interfacing, and then I did a zigzag stitch all the way around the edge. I thought it made it look kind of extra sun-like with that zigzag pointiness. So my next step is I'm going to work on the elephants. This is fabric glue, and attach the ears. Now I want to attach the ears now because the next thing I'm going to do is add the eye, and I want the ear attached so that I have a better sense of where the eye should be. And I just want to add like not very much, just a bit. Just to hold it in place. And let's do the next guy over here. I'm gonna let that dry for a couple minutes. I have a couple steps coming up where I'm like, ugh, I feel like these last couple steps could really ruin everything. The water being one of them, I'm a little nervous about the water. I know how I'm gonna do the water, but I feel like the project's looking pretty good right now, and I don't wanna mess it up, but we'll just keep chugging along. Next step, the eye. So I added the eyes to my elephants. I used black embroidery floss to do that, and that was pretty easy. And so next I need to attach my elephants to the block.
And I'm going to do that using the Wonder Under, just like I did for some of the other pieces of this block. Now I've really struggled with the water, the idea of them spraying the water into the air. And I have ideas about how to do that. I have a lot of different blues here that I could use. I thought this one would be particularly appropriate because it looks like little water droplets. And I thought I could kind of just make little shapes kind of that look like little pieces of water, and then maybe even little water droplets, and they'd be spraying up. However, I am worried that it's adding too much, that if I place these elephants kind of the way that I want them, like this, to me, this looks like enough. It looks complete to me like this. And I'm worried that it's going to completely ruin it by adding these blue droplets spraying into the air. But I also feel that I want to complete this challenge. As you remember, the challenge is National Day Craft Challenge. And the National Day was Shower with a Friend. So I feel like maybe I'm not completing the challenge if I don't have the water spraying up with them showering. But I think that the challenge is being complete. There's a little dust on his ear. Because they're in the mud. They're bathing together in the mud. And so they are cleaning themselves and bathing in the mud, which I believe is pretty close to showering with a friend. I think it's close enough. Plus, I'm making up the rules of this challenge. So I'm going to say that challenge complete without the water spraying into the air. To be honest, if I was not really feeling like this project was going very well, if my elephants were kind of wonky and the image was not all that great, I would totally add the water, because I'd be like, whatever, this is just supposed to be fun and creative and learning new things, that kind of mentality. But I really like this quilt block. I like this quilt block far more than I actually thought that I was going to. And so I don't want to ruin it. I want to keep it just like this. So that is what I'm going to do. So next step, I'm going to secure the elephants onto the block. I'm going to do that using the Wonder Under, because I think that worked well with some of the other elements. And then I'm going to top stitch all the way around the elephants. Now, the other thing I struggled with is my elephants have no tail. And part of me feels like I should make a tail, but part of me again feels like this is just fine without it. And the last thing is that to me it's pretty obvious that one of these elephants is a little bigger than the other, but I think that's totally fine because friends come in all different sizes. All right, I'm gonna go finish up this last part. The quilt block is done. I'm extremely pleased with it. Dare I say, I am even proud of this quilt block. I really love it. It is beyond my expectations of what I thought that this could be. I know that I traced the elephants, so perhaps that's cheating a little bit, but I don't think so. I think this is really great, and I didn't think I was gonna like it as much as I do. So I'm not sure what I'm gonna do with it, but when I'm ready for whatever project I decide to use this in, when I'm ready to do that, I'm going to trim the edges so that everything is 90-degree angles and a nice solid square. So right now it's not square-like, but that's okay. And I'm just gonna leave it as is until I'm ready to use it in a project. So I'm gonna do a National Day Craft Challenge once a month. I can't wait for March. I am so excited to find out what my options are gonna be and what I'm gonna do, and maybe I'll do another quilt block. I think that'd be so cool to have a whole quilt just made up of quilt blocks of national days. But again, if, in March I find out what the topic is and I wanna do something totally different, then, I wanna leave myself those options at this point. But I think the National Day Craft Challenge is super fun, and I hope you do some with me. Until the next craft challenge, keep crafting and can't wait to make something with you in the future. Bye.